The sledgehammer was still warm when they found it, leaning against a freshly broken wall 340 feet underground. On the other side of that wall, 12 bodies lay in the darkness. 12 men who made one fatal mistake. They crossed into Toliver territory. September 3, 1978. Perry County, Kentucky. Ray Colson's mining crew broke through solid rock and discovered something that would get them all killed, another tunnel. An old one, hand-carved. The kind with support beams cut from oak in the 1920s, someone else's tunnel. Someone who'd been there long before any legal claim was filed, and everyone in Perry County knew whose tunnel it was. Harlan Toliver. The name hung in the air like a death sentence. In 1964, state surveyors tried to run boundary markers through Toliver Hollow. Harlan met them with hunting rifles. They never came back. In 1971, a logging company tried to buy timber rights. Harlan burned their equipment, $140,000 worth. The sheriff's report said origin of fire undetermined. In 1976, a coal company from Virginia tried to lease mineral rights. Harlan showed up at their office with a photograph of the representative's 7-year-old daughter waiting for the school bus. The company withdrew their offer the same day. That's who Ray Colson was about to negotiate with. Ray stood in that tunnel at 4:10 p.m., staring at the hole his crew had punched through. His son Bobby, 19 years old, stood beside him. So did Jim Hayes, Tom Mitchell, Carl Jensen, and 9 others. 12 men total. 12 men who had families waiting at home. 12 men who should have run. "We need to seal this," Jim said, his voice shaking. "Right now. Pretend we never saw it." But Ray couldn't. Beyond that wall was virgin coal, thick and clean, the kind that could pay for Bobby's trade school, get Dale through his senior year, maybe give Emma a chance at college. 3 years Ray had worked this claim. 3 years, $8,400 invested, everything they had. "We're still on our claim," Ray said. "The property line is another 100 feet east. We're within our boundaries, legal boundaries." As if legal mattered in Toliver Hollow. At 4:45 p.m. they heard footsteps in the Toliver tunnel. Slow, deliberate. A figure appeared in the darkness 30 feet back, just standing there, watching. Silent. Patient. Like a predator studying prey. Ray called out, tried to explain. The figure turned and walked away without a word. But the message was clear. "You've been warned." The crew packed up. Ray promised he'd drive to Toliver Hollow the next morning, talk to Harlan face to face, settle this like men. Carl Jensen shook his head. "That's a mistake, Ray." "Maybe," Ray said. "But it's my mistake to make." September 4, 1978. Ray woke at 6 a.m. with his wife Martha begging him not to go. Bobby insisted on coming. They drove to Toliver Hollow, 23 minutes through winding mountain roads. At 7:23 a.m., they found Virgil Toliver blocking the access road, Winchester rifle across his chest. "Morning, Virgil," Ray said, keeping his hands visible. "I'm here to see your father." "Go home, Ray," Virgil said. "Take your boy and leave while you still can. I need to talk to your father." "About the tunnel." Virgil's jaw tightened. "My brother Wade checked our tunnel last night. Found fresh drill marks on our side of the wall. You didn't stop when you broke through. You kept mining our coal." Ray's stomach dropped. They had kept working maybe 20 minutes before they understood what they'd done. 20 minutes that would cost 12 lives. "I'm sorry," Ray said. "We'll seal it, whatever your father wants. Too late for that." Virgil raised his rifle slightly, not pointing it, just showing it. "You should have known better than to cross Toliver ground." Ray couldn't get past Virgil. He drove home, defeated. At 8:30 a.m., he made a decision that haunted him for the rest of his life. He went to the mine to check on things, to make sure everything was secure. When Ray and Bobby arrived at the mine entrance at 8:47 a.m., 4 trucks were already there. Jim Hayes, Tom Mitchell, Carl Jensen, and others. The crew had come back early to help pull equipment out before the mine was sealed. Ray's blood went cold. He'd told them not to come back, told them it was too dangerous. But miners don't abandon equipment, don't leave tools behind. It's not how they're wired. "Jim," Ray called out, No answer. He walked to the mine entrance, pulled his flashlight, tapped the wooden support beam 3 times for luck, and stepped into darkness. The smell hit him first. Copper, sweet, the smell of blood. Ray found the first body at 200 feet. Pete Harkins, 24 years old, face down in coal dust. Then Kenny Morrison at 340 feet. Then Billy Hughes. One by one, Ray found them in the darkness. Jim Hayes, Tom Mitchell, Carl Jensen, all of them. 12 bodies scattered through 870 feet of tunnel, shotgun wounds, rifle wounds, close range, execution style. The Tolivers hadn't come to talk, hadn't come to negotiate. They'd come to send a message, and they'd written it in blood. Ray stood in that tunnel, surrounded by 12 dead men, 12 friends, 12 fathers and sons and brothers, and the weight of it crushed him. His legs gave out. He fell to his knees in the coal dust and the blood and screamed until his throat was raw. Bobby found him there 20 minutes later, broken, destroyed, unable to move. The bodies were brought out one by one, laid on the ground near the mine entrance, covered with blankets. By noon, Perry County knew what happened. By evening, the hollow was filled with trucks, with families, with widows and children who couldn't understand why their fathers weren't coming home. Nancy Mitchell, 6 months pregnant, stood over her husband's body, one hand on her belly, the other covering her mouth. Tom's daughter Thomasina would never meet her father. Sheriff William Pritchard arrived at 4:18 p.m., walked the tunnel, counted 12 bodies, 12 murders, the worst massacre Perry County had ever seen. That night the sheriff drove to Toliver Hollow alone, found Harlan sitting on his porch, 3 of his sons nearby, all armed. "You know why I'm here," the sheriff said. "I expect I do. 12 men are dead, Harlan. 12 men crossed Toliver land," Harlan said, his voice cold. "Broke into our tunnel, stole our coal. We defended what was ours. Murder is murder. Self-defense is self-defense." The sheriff looked at the 3 armed sons, at the darkness beyond, knew there were more watching from the shadows. "I can't let this go." Harlan stood up, walked to the edge of his porch. "You've been sheriff 14 years, Bill. You know there are 2 kinds of law in Perry County, the law in the courthouse and the law in the mountains. You know which one matters more out here." The sheriff stood there, weighing options, weighing consequences. Then he got in his vehicle and drove away, not because he was afraid, because he knew the truth. In the hollows, some crimes the law can't touch. The Commonwealth's attorney reviewed the case for 6 weeks. Interviewed witnesses, examined evidence, consulted with state police. His decision: insufficient evidence to proceed with charges. Case closed. 12 men dead. No arrests, no trial, no justice. Perry County split down the middle. Half said Ray had crossed a line, violated mountain law, brought it on himself. The other half said it was murder, pure and simple. Harlan Toliver should hang. Families stopped speaking, churches divided. The county was at war with itself. Ray Colson never recovered. Quit mining, took a job at the lumber mill for $4.20 an hour, a fraction of what he'd made. The guilt ate him alive. 12 men dead because he'd been stubborn, because he'd kept working for 20 minutes when he should have stopped. He carried his father's compass every day, tapped it 3 times every morning, but never looked at it the same way. The needle still spun, still searched for true north, still never found it. Ray died in 1993 at 58, black lung complicated by emphysema. His last words, recorded on cassette tape by his son Dale: "I asked the mountain for permission every day for 24 years. Asked her to keep me safe, and she did. She kept me alive. But she took 12 other men instead. Good men, better men than me, and I don't know if that's mercy or cruelty." Harlan Toliver died in 1983 at 63, heart attack, quick and merciful. His funeral drew 200 people. Ray didn't attend, but 3 days later Ray drove to Toliver Cemetery alone, stood at Harlan's grave for 20 minutes, then left his father's compass on the headstone. Not forgiveness, just acknowledgement. The Blackjack mine entrance is still sealed, the concrete weathered and cracked, covered with moss and vines, but the wall stands. In 2015, the University of Kentucky tried to excavate to document what happened. Both families said no. Some stories should stay buried. 12 men died over coal never mined, money never made, a tunnel sitting empty 340 feet below the surface. Was Harlan wrong to defend his land? Was Ray wrong to provide for his sons? No easy answers. Just 12 graves in Blackjack Hollow Cemetery. 12 families destroyed. 12 lives traded for pride and stubbornness and the refusal to walk away when walking away was the only smart choice. The mountains remember. We should too.